This man is drunk. Wait, am I drunk? I'm nobody. Yes, you do have a problem. God's got this. No, I got this. You're stupid. You're dumb. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a son. I'm a leader. I am Marcus J. Scott. I'm Marcus J. Scott, author of The Drunken Preacher, here to encourage critical thinking, social awareness, advocate growth, resilience, provide hope, and help you find faith. Hey, what up, what up, what up, what up? It's September 1st. It is Labor Day. Labor Day. Welcome to a special edition of the Drunken Preacher Podcast, Labor Day. And I know most of you are sleeping in today, so you probably won't see this morning at 5 a.m. But whenever you see it, happy Labor Day. You know, when I first think about Labor Day really, the initial intention of Labor Day was to honor the labor union for the hard work. There were unions and labor needed, so much. And we wanted to honor the labor union, and that's why Labor Day was created. But, when I think of Labor Day, how much of us are really labor in ourselves, find ourselves in the labor that we do. We define ourselves sometimes by our work. How much we make, a paycheck, where we work, how much we work in labor. But a lot of us are feeling weary because of life's labor. The struggles we go through in life, the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, whether it be with our families, whether it be with our job, bills, stress, stressful situations, death. I know a big thing lately has been the transition of a lot of baby boomers. And man, when I tell you that it just seems like between last year and this year that, death is, man, death has always been around, but for whatever reason, just these last couple of years, to include some of our famous people that are, well known, whether it's, TV or whatever they did in life. And so life just has seemed to be, uh, a struggle here lately. And so I ask you, are some of you feeling weary and tired? And as the Bible says, weary and heavy laden. Are you feeling weary today? Are you feeling like drained today? Well, first of all, I got good news for you. One, that there is not only can you rest today for your physical body, but there's also rest in God. We can also put our rest in God. The Bible says, come to me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. And so sometimes we need to find rest in places that we can't get it in ourselves. And for me, that's in God. That's in Jesus. That's in focusing on Him. A lot of times, we try to do it all ourselves. I talk about that often. We try to do it all ourselves instead of putting it on someone who is bigger than our problems. Yes, putting it on someone who is bigger than our problems, giving it over to God and saying, God, this is too much for me, but it's not too much for you. And so I began to ask myself, thinking about this whole Labor Day thing, are you working for a living? Are you working for a living? Are you working just to try to pay the bills? You going to work every day, putting in the work just so you can live? Or are you living for your work? Are you working for a living, or are you living for your work? Do you have purpose in what you are doing? And so today I just want to encourage somebody that we might want to shift our mindset and begin to think about, what is our purpose, and that we need to focus more on living for our work, living for our purpose, living in a sense that I'm here, I'm put on this earth to do something. I'm put on this earth to 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 make a difference. And trying to find out what that is sometimes can be challenging. Heck, sometimes that could just be labor in itself, right? Just trying to figure out, what am I here for? And somebody once told me, one of the greatest days in life is, uh, I guess the second thing. Our first greatest thing in life is probably the day we came into this world. But the second time is the day we find out what our purpose is. The day the light bulb comes on and say, aha, this is why I am here. And I know at one point in time in my life, it was like, aha, this is why I'm here. I believe God called me when I was 19 years old, which was just a few years ago, some years back. And when I first got the call, I knew it. I knew it. I knew he called me to minister to people. I knew he called me to use me as a vessel to help to change people's lives. The problem was I did like Jonah and I ran. And instead of putting in work through some of the struggles I was going in at the time, I was like, man, I no, maybe I wasn't called. Maybe this wasn't it. And so for me, like, I was struggling with, well, did he really call me? And sometimes we struggle with the did he really call me for this? Did he really call me for this work? I think about when a lot of people look at the Bible and see Adam and Eve as, oh man, I would have never did that if God gave me all this paradise and he gave me everything that I could eat, and I just don't have to touch the one thing, the one tree in the middle. Man, I would have never done that. But the thing is, we do it all the time. There's a couple things we do all the time. God gives us everything and we focus on what we don't have. That's number one. A lot of times, God gives us all this other stuff, and we focus on the stuff that we don't have. That's number one, and that's what happened. But number two is, the enemy posed the question. Did God really say? Just ask a question. What did he say about this tree? Yo, you. What did he say about this tree right here? Oh, well, this is what he said. So then you start questioning yourself. The enemy gets in our head, poses questions that allows us to start doubting ourselves. And that's what I did. I was like, well, man, was I really called? I'm not so sure, because all this stuff is happening. And so then we begin to struggle within ourselves about what our purpose is. What are we really here to do? What am I really here to do? I thought it was this. I thought it was to start this business and change children's lives. I thought it was to start this business and do this one particular thing and change the world. I thought it was to work at this one particular place. I thought it was to give back in this area. I thought it was to preach. I thought it was to teach, but I'm not really making any money. I thought it was, whatever it is that you thought it was, and then you begin to question yourself. Is it really the thing God told me to do? And if it was burning in your heart, if it was burning in your spirit, and I mean, there were times and days that you couldn't stop thinking about it, it probably was the purpose. It probably was that day that God said, yep, this is what you're here for. And so that's one of the greatest things. The problem comes in, the struggle comes in, the mental and emotional labor comes in when we start second guessing ourselves and questioning ourselves. Are we supposed to be doing this? Well, the first thing that I would say is, if you see this is my purpose, if you're knowing this is what I was called to do, if you're knowing This is what I'm living for, to do this work and not working for a living. Just I'm living to do this work, this purpose, this thing I was called to do. The first thing is you're going to have some challenges. You're going to have some trials. You're going to have some tests. So, as soon as, almost right after, you're going to start having tests. And when I say right after, it might not be that same hour, it might not even be that same day. Oh, but it's coming. If you feel and see what your purpose is, it's coming. Oh, the struggle is coming. And you will have to put in some work, and not just physical work. You're going to have to put in some mental work. You're going to have to put in some self-discipline, some spiritual work, some mental work, some emotional work. Oh, it's going to take you through, and it's going to be a challenge. And so when we start to focus in on what our purpose is, when we start to focus in on what we were put here to do, and we begin to put in that work, expect challenges. Expect challenges. So that's the first thing. Expect challenges when you know, okay, this is what I was put here to do. This is what my purpose is. I need to expect challenge. But then the second thing we have to do is we got to expect and want change. Yeah, we got to expect and want change. A lot of times we're not ready to change from what we've been doing. We're not ready to change from the old ways we've been doing things. We're not ready to change into something new. And the day that God says, this is what your purpose is, this is what you are, this is what I put you on this earth for, then we have to understand that change is necessary. Change is necessary in the beginning once we find it out. Change is necessary once we begin to do more and hone our skills. And then change is definitely necessary for sustainability, because there are changes with the times and how we do things. If you think about the word, the message is the same, but the methods potentially will change. I think about, and I talk about this often, how when Moses brought the Israelites out of Egypt, it was one way of doing things. He provided manna. He provided everything. They didn't have to do anything for the things that they were receiving under Moses' direction, coming out of slavery. But then when they had to go into the promised land, they had to fight. So the method changed. The same God, but the method changed. The message was the same. Yep, we going to the promised land. We came out of slavery. We going to the promised land. That was the message. We coming out of slavery. We going to the promised land. That was the message. But the method in which what happened from coming out to going in changed. And sometimes even the leaders and the messengers. So it went from Moses to Joshua. So we have to expect change. We have to realize that there's going to be some change. And so we get into, okay, yep, this is our purpose. This is what we're doing. This is what I got to do. So some of that change could be leaving some friends behind. Leaving some people behind. And it's not that they're bad people. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, hey, you got to let all your friends go. You got to let your family members go. You got to let these people. But some people can't go on the journey with you. Some people can't go on the journey with you. I think about when Jesus, he had 12, but there were certain places he only took one or two of them. And then when he went higher up, he was like, okay, y'all sit right here and pray. I'm going to go up a little bit higher. So sometimes even the levels that we go up, everybody can't come with us. I heard one of my mentors say, as you go higher and higher, everybody can't breathe the same air you breathe. Everybody can't take those altitudes. So there are some people that have to stay at certain levels. And when you think about it, as you work, everybody's not willing to put in 120% as much as you are. Everybody's not truly willing to put in the work that it takes, the change that it takes. And so everybody's not going to be able to go with you. So one of the things that are going to change are the circle of people that you're around. The other reason that your circle of people may change because they don't have the same mindset. Like one of my mentors told me, you should not be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. Yeah, if you are the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. And so it's going to take some change when you're going to another level. It's going to take change when you're trying to grow. It's going to take change once you say, okay, this is my purpose. Here's the direction I'm going. I'm starting. There's going to be some change. But then I'm going to another level. There's going to be some change. There's going to be some change. When you go up in an elevator, we could talk about planes, but when you're going up in an elevator, the first, second floor, third floor, not a whole lot happens with your ears. Not a whole lot happens. And in fact, on the ground level, in most elevators, when you're talking about going into like a large hotel, if a lot of people's getting on, usually the elevator's packed when everybody gets on. Couple things happen, right? Couple things happen when we get on the elevator at the ground floor. There's a lot of people that get on. Then there's some buttons that are pushed, and as you go up, people get off. People get off. And if you're in one of those tall buildings, as you go up, not only do people get off, but my ears start to pop a little bit the higher I go. So it's less people. Things are changing in my body. My ears are popping. I'm going higher. And people are getting off the elevator. And there are less people the higher we go up. And if you're in particular buildings on the top floor, it's usually only one or two people get off because that's the penthouse. That's the very top floor. And usually the altitude, because of the altitude and how high up it is, something's going on within my body and my ears are popping. So there's some internal things happening. There's some people have gotten off along the way, and you might have had some conversation, and it doesn't mean that they were bad just because they got off. It was just their floor. It was just their time. So are we expecting the change once we determine, okay, yep, this is my purpose. This is what I'm living for. I'm living for this work. I'm living for this purpose. I'm living for this. This is what God has called me to do. And so on this Labor Day, I want you to understand that there are going to be some challenges. When you are living for your work, living for what you're supposed to be doing, your purpose, there's going to be some challenges. And then secondly, there's going to be some change. There's going to be some change. And so we have to expect in this time, in this Labor Day, that while we're resting, let's try to focus on, are we doing our purpose? While you're resting, while you're relaxing, while you potentially eating ribs and chicken and all the good food that the family has cooked, am I working for a living, or am I living to work? Am I living for my purpose? Am I living for my purpose? And while we're thinking about that, while we're saying, okay, yep, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, are we expecting the change? Are we expecting the change? I mean, are we expecting the challenges? Are we expecting the challenges? And then are we willing to change? Are we willing to change? And then lastly, we got to put in the work. We got to put in the work. And so we must be willing to charge. we must be willing to charge forward. Yeah, we must be willing to run and take it head on. Most of us, we prepare and we keep preparing and we keep preparing and we keep preparing, and then we never move. I'm reminded of, this was back in the day, a little thing before we move forward, we was like, dun, 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 charge, right? Well, now, today, or tomorrow, because we're resting today, tomorrow might be your dun, 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 charge. Like, we've been preparing. Oh yeah, I gotta have it perfect. Oh, I gotta get it together. Oh, I'm not ready yet. I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say this. He said, before you did any of the stuff that you did, were you really ready for it? Because you had never done it before. He said before he started leading pastors, he had never led pastors before. So of course he wasn't necessarily ready to lead pastors because he had never done it before. I was just telling somebody in one of my classes the other day, they was like, I don't know, I've never done real estate before. And I started thinking, I was like, have we ever done the things that we done before we did them the first time? I mean, think about that. When you first ride a bike, you fall off a couple times. You're learning how to build your balance. But had you ever ridden a bike before the first time you rode a bike? Did you ever walk before you walked the first time when you were a baby? Did you ever walk before? You probably fell down a couple times. A lot of people, once we get older and we start to move in certain directions, we say, I don't know, I've never done that before. Well, did you do anything before you ever did it the first time? I had to start thinking about that thing. Whoa, man, I don't know, this is going to be hard. Well, most things that you probably did the first time, it was a bit challenging. I mean, even in our gifts, right? Even in our gifts, I was gifted to play the drums. I started playing the drums. I mean, I was beating pots and pans at 2 and 3 years old. Yeah, I was beating pots and pans. And the first time I got on a drum set, I was maybe 5 or 6. I was playing at my dad's church. But the first time I played the drums, I was nervous. And I barely kept the beat. I messed up a few times, but I did it. That was in my gift. That was in something that God gave me that came natural to me, and I didn't do it perfect then. So even in our gifts, the first time we do it, the first time we find out, oh, this is the gift I have, it may not be perfect. It's not going to be 100%. But then in order for me to have gotten better in playing the drums, I had to keep playing the drums. I had to get a coach. I had to get a mentor. I had to get a more experienced drummer to help me hone my skills. I had to get somebody to help me learn how to read sheet music. But yet I was gifted in playing the drums. Some of you are gifted in teaching. Some of you are gifted in speaking. Some of you are gifted in service. Some of you are gifted in giving. Some of you are gifted in areas that others are not. And I told you what your gift is. Steve Harvey says your gift is the thing that allows you to produce the maximum result with least amount of effort. The thing that you do with these that produces the maximum result with the least amount of effort, that's probably your gift. Another mentor of mine, CJ, says the thing that's hard for most and easy for you. The thing that's hard for most and easy for you. And I'm paraphrasing that. The thing that you can do with ease, that's hard for most. And for me, it was playing the drums. For me, it was, I could stay on beat and keep a beat, even at a young age. And it was, not perfect, but I could stay on beat, keep a beat, and play certain things that just others could not get. And so that was my gift. But we have to learn how to hone those skills. And so a lot of times we're nervous at the beginning. And so we start waiting, procrastinating, giving excuses on why we can't start. Okay, we recognize some challenges. We recognize, okay, there needs to be some change. But some of us are held up at the charge part. Some of us are held up at, I'm not ready to move forward. I'm not ready to dun, 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 charge. Some of us, we keep making excuses on why we can't move forward. Hey, I wanna teach. I wanna instruct. I want to get my real estate license. I want to get my electrician license. I want to get the plumbing license. I want to start this business. I had this idea and I want to get started. But I'm not ready yet. I need for this to happen first. I need for this person to be in my life. I need to be able to score this high. I need to be able to do this more. And we making all these excuses on why we can't start. Some of you, your message today is dun, 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 charge. Some of you, the message today is to get started. Let's charge forward. It's your time. It's your time. That just hit me. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That just hit me. So even in my Drunken Preacher, the opening that my cousin did for me, it says it's your time. It's your time. This is your time to get started. This is your time to start your purpose. This Labor Day, God wanted you to hear this, or whatever day you're listening to it after today, because some of you are not going to hear it today. Some of you are not going to hear it this morning at 5 o'clock this morning. Yes, and it is actually this morning that I'm doing this. That is your time to start. It is your time to start. I'm speaking directly to you. It is your time to start. You need to charge today. You need to start today. Stop procrastinating. No, God already called you. Yep, you already had the challenges. Yep, you already made some of the changes. You probably need to make some more changes. You probably need to shift some stuff. You probably need to let some people go. You probably need to get into some new circles. So yes, you need to make the change. You already acknowledge the challenges. But now it's time for you to dun, 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 charge. Yeah. Now it's time for you to charge. Yeah. Now it's time for you to charge. So stop playing games. Stop making excuses. Stop sitting back saying, oh, I'm not ready yet. I didn't get this right. I didn't get that right. Study, pass the test. Get the mentor, move forward. Ask for help, move forward. Write it down, make it plain, move forward. Start today. Stop making excuses and start today. It's time to charge. All right? And so no longer are we focusing on we're working for a living. We're not just working just to work. We're not just working just to pay the bills. We're not just working to try to make ends meet. We are living to work. We are going to move forward in whatever we were called to do. Whatever our purpose is, that's what we're moving forward with. That is what I'm charging you with today. Let's move forward. Let's charge. Let's dun, 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 charge. And so when I see some of you and I know you've seen this, I'm going to just say dun, 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 and then you say charge. It's time to charge. It's time to stop making excuses. It's time to stop making excuses. All right. That's my time for this morning. Oh man, I'm super excited. Listen, that just blessed me. So I'm looking forward to not only saying, okay, I'm in these challenges. I got some challenging times. I got some challenging times right now myself. And so I need to also make some changes. There's some changes that I'm going to have to make. There's some changes you're going to have to make. And then we're going to have to charge and move forward. We're going to have to charge and move forward. God has called us for something greater. God has called us for something higher. God has called us for something more than what we're doing now. And I talked about this on my morning motivation. Let's stop being lazy. Let's stop being lazy. Let's stop making excuses, and let's move forward. All right. Happy Labor Day to you. I'm super, super excited. I wasn't able to get my mom on this time, but we are definitely going to get her on. I got to work on that this week so that she can be on next week. Man, I tell you, I got some things coming up, so stay tuned. Continue to follow us on Marcus J. Scott 4040, Marcus J. Scott 4040. Make sure you share, subscribe, and like. Make sure you tell a friend. Make sure you tell a family member. Share this with them. Click on the link below. Subscribe first if you are not already subscribed. And then share this. You can just click the share button, copy, and then send it to them in a text message, what have you. And then ask them to subscribe. All right. Man, this has been super, super beneficial for me. I tell you, every time that I get up here and I talk to you, and then send me some comments. Put in the comment section how you enjoyed this, or send me a text, shoot me a message on social media, because I got a message the other day said that I encouraged them, and that's what keeps me going, knowing that I helped at least one person. If I can make a difference in one person's life, that's what I'm here for, to make a difference in other people's lives. I know what my purpose is. God is using me to preach, teach, and speak. That's what I was put on this earth to do, to change people's lives, to help people move forward, to help myself and others move forward and be the best versions of ourselves that we can be what God has called us to be. I know what my purpose is. And so I have to expect there's going to be some challenges. At every level, there's going to be some challenges. And then at every level, we're going to have to make some changes. There's going to be changes that need to be made. And then we have to move forward. We have to charge. We have to move forward, charge forward, and do it in not just our power, but in God's power. He has all the power. All right. That's our time. Man, I'm super, super excited about what God has in store for you next. And I can't wait until we move forward together. All right. So that's my time. You know how we always end the show. Always have a heart of gratitude and the strength to keep moving forward. God bless you.
Drunken Preacher.